How many of you feel that digitizing the shop floor is possible? Thank you. How many of you think that it is just simply impossible? Thank you. So thank you for your time this morning, and we'll do our best to make it worth your time. By the end of this morning's session, we hope to inspire you to embark on this journey and begin to chart your course in digitizing your shop floor. My name is Kenneth from Messe, and we are the sales partners of the Malaysian Smart Factory. We would like to make this session as interactive as possible this morning, and do send in your questions in the chat box. Our speakers are waiting eagerly to take those questions by the end of the session. All right, don't worry, it will be very easy questions to take. Thank you. So today we have an industry practitioner to share his journey in digitizing his shop floor. Mr. Loong graduated in a Bachelor of Mechanical and Material Engineering degree from UKM in 1995 and obtained a Master's in Business Administration from University of Surrey, United Kingdom in the year 2000. He has more than 20 years of experience in manufacturing operations, covering aspects of operations management, production planning and control, machine and facility maintenance, quality management, logistics procurement, occupational health and safety, tool and die design and development. His previous work experience includes Tanchong Motor Assemblies, Wawasan TKH, and since 2013 at the New Home Fund Group. Let's welcome Mr. Loong to the screen. Let me stop sharing first. Sorry. All right, Mr. Loong, sorry, the screen is yours.
Thank you, Kenneth, for your kind words. Okay, let me share screen. All right, is the screen on?
Yes.
Yep. Okay. So without further ado, okay, let's start the webinar today. So today I'm here to share some of the things that we have done in the factory. It's definitely a beginning, not an end. We still have a long journey to go. Okay. Before we go on, let me do a brief intro on company, okay, what we do so that we know how, in what context the project was actually implemented on. So we actually do automotive replacement body parts. So that would include metal parts like doors, hoods, and so on, and also plastic bumpers, headlamps, wheels, and so on. Now, this business actually is a little bit different from what we normally know as an OEM, where you have the original equipment manufacturers. Those they produce the cars and produce the parts for them. We specifically do for replacement market only. And because of that, it is a very high mix and a low volume industry. We also export 50% of our products, which makes it a little bit competitive, and quality requirement wise is international quality standard wise. Right, so that with the company, let's go on to digital transformation. Everything has to start with a roadmap. And so my first slide is also a roadmap. This is a 10-point roadmap. Thank you, SHRDC, for this roadmap, which we found it very useful, and we're actually practicing it until now. But before we go on to the roadmap, I think first we have to do some soul searching first. First, what are we trying to solve in the first place? Digital transformation is just a tool. It's something that everyone is talking about, but do we need to go there, and why do we need to go there? So I'll just go through a few of the points that we are trying to solve now. Man problem. I think every manufacturing company faces difficulty in recruiting. And if you are able to recruit, the second big hurdle will be retention. That is also another impossible thing. Why? Somehow or another, the new generation, they seem uninterested in manufacturing works, It's no longer sexy like those days, when I was young, when I was in school, when the teacher will ask, what is your ambition? They'll say doctor, engineer, lawyer. Now I doubt that is the same thing anymore. So, the job is no longer sexy and it's not easy. With the minimum wages coming in, all jobs are paying the same. Why not stay in a shopping mall, doing sales assistant, rather than starting it out in the plant? Another area that we are looking at is machines. Manufacturing boomed about 30 to 50 years ago. I think that was the major investment by manufacturing companies. And because the major investment was then, a lot of our equipment, they are now 20, 30, 40 years old. So they become legacy machines. When legacy machines, technology-wise, is limited. So if we want to further move forward, we want to further enhance the equipment, it's not so easy. Then we talk about material. Material development, technology-wise, has been so great. There are so many evolutions, with 3D printing and so on. But in order to be able to maximize this, you need knowledge, in-depth knowledge, and also very good control. And of course, not forgetting the method, consistency is important. Quality is utmost important now. Why? Because the world is getting smaller. I think it's what we call as the era of the power of the buyer. Power of the buyer is the ability to source. You are able to find suppliers for anything and everything, and from anywhere and everywhere. And with the logistics, of course, now the logistics are having some issues because of COVID. But before that, logistics was very easy. It's a matter of waiting for, let's say if you buy something from Lazada and Shopee, it takes you a week before the product comes, and you can find things that you've never been able to find locally now. Now, all these actually are the reasons, the things that we are trying to solve, why we want to move into that. So how to overcome this? The environment side, to fulfill your customer, the survival of the fittest, the only way you can do is you have to make sure that we ourselves are efficient operationally. We are able to control all processes that we produce, hence ability to be able to deliver to the customer. But that is not enough. You can throw in the human, you can throw in all the investment there, but is the business sustainable? So that is the second part. Business must be sustainable and must be profitable. Unfortunately, that's life. The business must make money so for us that we can actually further expand. And now, the only way to move forward with the aging equipment, with the new generation who are interested, is to have a visible shop floor. Why visible shop floor? Quality and productivity is important because you need to attract and employ the next generation of workers. So with all these things in mind, we have more or less come up with our own project internally, which is very obvious: reducing total costs, improving productivity and quality, but with an enabler called digital transformation. So that is for internally. We know that digital transformation is an enabler, something that can point you in the direction, but at the end of the day, you need to do the work to be able to solve the problems. Okay, now understanding where we are, the current situation, and what we are trying to solve will bring us to our journey. Now, this is when our journey actually begins, which will bring us back to the roadmap. Once again, thank you SHRDC for the roadmap. Let's look at the first 3 points. I've been asked multiple times, leadership buying, how was it? Was it tough? Was it difficult? Kenneth asked me this multiple times. So at the point he asked me, I just say, no, it wasn't difficult. But when I think back, I actually started pushing for digital transformation in 2018. Now we are in 2021, end of 2021, and it's the 4th year. So I have already forgotten what we are, what Malaysians are very common in. We always forget the difficult parts. But when I think deeply, I've been pushing this for 4 years, and we've had multiple barriers, multiple things that we need to do. But that, I think we will come to it later. But let's go on. I think in the first thing that we need to do is understand what is the scope that we are trying to do. Okay, so we borrow this from MITI, the national policy, the industry forward policy. There are 11 pillars altogether, but we try to be more focused. So we focus on things like Internet of Things. Legacy machines require digitization. They may come with PLCs, but the PLC's line diagram, all those are lost. You need to be able to digitize them. And once you digitize them, then only do you have an opportunity for data acquisition, which will lead to the next pillar that we want to do is big data analytics. Okay. In short, we want to do data automation, connect the machines, and collect enough data for big data. And having the live data actually does help, because what we want to achieve is visualization, as we mentioned earlier. And visualization for what? Operational decision making. That's important. If you know where you are at this point of time, you can make the right decision. It's not you know where you are at the end of the day, as in any other operations. You have a daily report. It is shift report. That's a bit too late. You can make live decisions, operational decisions then. And the second part is collect sufficient data for analysis and also analytics. And continuous improvement is unavoidable. So in order to move forward, you need data. Okay, with that in mind, we know where we want to go, so we build our objectives. It's very similar to what the 5 points that I pointed out earlier. First, increase productivity. In order to increase productivity with the same resources currently that you have, the man, the machine, the method and the material, you need to be able to identify and then practice the optimal working range. You can work very fast, but workers will tend to get tired at the end of the day. It's not optimal. And when they get tired, they make mistakes. That's even worse. So you need to be able to identify an optimal working range for all 4 components. And then once you have identified optimal working range, then you can talk about using real data to make decisions on the spot. So data-driven shop floor. So we would also want to reduce downtime. Downtime comes in many factors, but what we focus specifically actually more is on the breakdown. By the ability to collect data, we can actually have condition monitoring, equipment condition monitoring, and by then we'll be able to see more trends, analyze and and eventually come up with predictive maintenance. And finally, in my aspect, I think this is the most important, the key point of it actually is develop in-house talent and technology. Why sustainability, I think, is the key point here. If you are able to customize, if you understand the technology, if you build the technology yourself, you are able to upscale it in the future. Upscaling means snowballing it, yokoten it, duplicating to the next line, and taking it to the next level. Because I believe that this is not the end. There will be further development. Okay, with that, this is our objectives to reduce total cost by improving quality and productivity. Of course, obviously, the next step will be to have a project paper, project name. We have actually identified a specific line. We've identified what we want to improve. OEE is a very standard measurement, and we stick to the measurement. And important part is once you've identified the project, in our case, we've identified a stamping line to implement this project, is to understand what are the current barriers. I've listed down 3 main barriers here. The first barrier is actually inaccurate data. Now, I wouldn't say that it is a sabotage inaccurate data, but data sometimes inputted by human beings, whether it's your engineer, whether it's supervisor, or whether it's a worker, it can be generalized. So, example, I will ask my engineer, what time did the line start yesterday? 8 o'clock. Without thinking, it will come 8 o'clock. But in actual fact, it could have started. The machines started at 8:10, 8:10, 8:09, 8:07. But because it is a reflective answer, and hence, because of this, he would have inputted that the time started at 8 o'clock. So when you come to analysis, these are things that you are unable to pick up. Whatever that you have inability to measure, you cannot solve. So my belief is we need to be able to measure accurate data. Another thing is, the second part is minor and random downtime. This is also another small things that we see. Everything went well, the equipment, no breakdown, parts supply, upstream supply was fine. But how come we did not get our output? Why? Because there are multiple small stops and small losses along the way. An example, a worker trying to pull out the part, it's a bit stuck, so he's to run around, get a hammer, bring it in, release the part, It takes easily a few minutes. Does he record that down? No. I don't think any supervisor would be able to do that. Even like you want to go to the toilet, you ring the bell, wait for the replacement person to come in. So these are all downtime. These are all waiting time, and all these small stops are not recorded in. It's not recorded, you cannot solve it. And the third one, of course, is unplanned breakdown. This part here, I think most manufacturing companies would be proud to say that they have their daily checklist. They'll go through the oil level, everything. But this is 1 point data, and 1 point data means you do it at your own convenience. So most of the plants would actually implement daily checks at the beginning of the shift, at the end of the shift, or at the end of the day. But it's 1 point that represents the whole day, and most of the time when they are checking, the machine is not running. So which means you do not capture data when it is under different loads, where different time of the day, when it's the afternoon, hydraulic oil, it can be hotter, it can be warmer then. So one-point data just doesn't cut it now, because when we want to do predictive maintenance, we need consistent and constant data. So hence, our approach is to actually digitize the line, have continuous machine data, and of course, coupling with the CCTV, because if we see some gaps in the data, we can actually confirm. So it's a check and balance, the CCTV. And our target improvements is looking at changeover improvement, and also all these small losses and stops. These are low-hanging fruits. Let's get rid of it. The second part is installing relevant sensors to do consistent or continuous monitoring of the equipment. Once we have enough data, 6 months, 9 months, 1 year data, we can look at multiple dimensions and start doing big data analysis for predictive maintenance. So this is our plan. Okay, the next one will actually be our Gantt chart. This is what, if you look at it, it's a 1 year project, only a very small line, but it's a 1 year project. We started in January, lots of hoo-ha, then we get buy-in in February, then we start talking about getting in the budget. I think one very long period here, you can see that is the training. This actually went across 5 months. This is the bulk of the project time. However, so it is time well spent. What we are trying to do is an in-house development, meaning that we develop the programs ourselves, we develop the hardware ourselves. By doing that, we have understanding of every single item that's put in, and able to manage all the scenarios that's ever possible. So now we are actually phase 1 completed. Our line is measuring OEE. I'm proud to say the team did well. We have already achieved our first OEE target. Now we are in the second part where we actually have installed sensors, developing the program and connecting the sensors in so that we will be able to collect the 6 months data. This is our current situation. Just a little bit highlight on what I'm talking about. This is one of our plants, one of our 6 plants. We are only taking a small area, so this time around we're very conservative. Just take a small area. Let's try a lighthouse project. It's a stamping line consisting of 3 stamping machines. We put in the relevant sensors, put in the relevant CCTVs and the monitoring unit. And from here, we've started collecting our OE data. Okay, I'm sure everyone, I think every time I present this, the few times I presented this, they will be asking, what is your project costing? That's very interesting, right? I always scratch my head also as well, because when I hear people talk about digital transformation, they are talking about hundreds of thousands, some comes to 1 million and so on. But when my engineers tell me that, hey, boss, I only need 23,000 for hardware. So I say, in the beginning, I would say, are you sure you got this right? Are you sure with 23,000, I will be able to digitize my stamping line? They say, yes, boss, can. All right, so okay, so we leave it at this. And true enough, they actually just used 23,000 to do the first phase. But a big cost that we feel that it is important for us is because the in-house training. In-house training, this is the method that we use. We want to actually train our workers so that they will, you've heard the saying, we believe in building the people so that the people can build the business. So this is an exact replica. We want to build the people so that the people can actually build the processes and the business moving forward. A bit high, but please rest assured, most training costs, if you contribute to HRDF, it's normally SPR claimable. So our total investment here, including training, is about 118,000. With our current condition or current achievement, the simple payback is just above 1 year. So, it's not too bad. It's not too bad. Okay. All right. Our results. I will show you the physical part of it. As if you had gone with a system integrator or a consultant, what they will tell you, what they will interview you, they will see the line, they will do a lot of process flow and so on. But at the end of the day, they will come to the line and they will install a black box, which you cannot open. Even if you open, you don't know what's inside. So I'm proud to say now that we have our own gray box. This is something that we developed on our own. Doesn't look very complicated. It's just a gateway, a power supply, and multiple relays. I think most electrical engineers or technicians will know this. We have our own gray box. I'm very happy to say that. We have our own dashboard. Now, the beauty about being able to do your own dashboard is you can actually customize it. if you have gone through an integrator or a consultant, they'll probably give you the generic dashboard that's available and customizable maybe once or twice. But for us, we can change dashboards every day. We can have a dashboard. In this case, you look at this, it's cycle time, change over time. This is important for analysis. But what about on the line? We can have another dashboard on the line, something that's more visual that you can see from far that you see a great problem. Let's go for that. These are things that we can do because we have chosen the path of training our internal group of people and then develop our own small little gray box and have some output in terms of dashboards. Okay, I think that will lead me to my thank you slide. Kenneth has warned me to keep this one short, so I have tried my best. So I will pass it back to Kenneth now and Dr. Chuan.